Hey everybody, this is part 5 of the rack-mounted quiz multi-series video tutorial, and I'd like to get as much done as possible in this video. See if we can finish this off, because it's been a long series and very long videos, and I want to apologize for the sync issues as my videos go on and on in length. The audio goes out of sync a little bit with the video, maybe a second or 3/4 of a second. All the information is still there, and you can hear me and see what I'm doing, but it is a little bit annoying, and it frustrates me. So maybe if I keep the videos a little bit shorter, I won't run into that problem so much. But this is where we're at, so I'll show you our progress so far. We've created this. All right, we've got our monitor up here, and we are ready to start putting some questions in very soon. We've got the loader region here, which will load the cards, and as we press a load button, the card will move down into the analyzer and the AccuView meters. As the card goes in, we can see that the needle will move, and in this case, it'll move and point towards no. The button will, or the little light bulb here will glow red, and we'll see a red background. And as we go on, there's the correct answer, B, in this particular case. Of course, we won't have these cards moving on the home screen, but we'll get that going soon. So we've got the monitor, the loader, the analyzer here with all its graphics, and we started to do this final little panel here, which is the Scorekeeper. And we've got these dynamic text boxes ready to go. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come into the score section here, and I'm going to go over to this guy here, and I'm going to change this back to white so that our text will be white for both of them. All right, and let's start getting this set up to actually record wrong or right answers. And the way we would do that is out here in the view meter controller. Before I had it on the side, I've moved it down to the bottom. I just like it having down there. And if we look at the code for that, we can see that we've got the situations for when the cards are ready, when they have moved down into their downward position and they're sticking into the AccuView meter. We will run the meter, and it will tell us whether it's wrong, or in the case of card B, we chose right, and then it will shut it off. I'm going to go in here and write some code and say answer wrong plus equals 1, and that's for our score. And every time we get a wrong answer, it will increment the wrong answer score down here. All right, so for every wrong answer, I'm going to put that piece of code. I'm just going to paste it in. And for the correct answer, in this case, we chose B for this example. I'm going to change this to the variable name we have on that dynamic text box, which is answer right. So let's give this a try here. I'll choose C. Wrong answer, you can see we got a 1. Another wrong answer, it's going up. Let's try this one. Right answer, it brings it up to 1. Wrong answer brings it up. So these will be maintained throughout the quiz as we go to the next and the next and the next. Of course, what we want to have done, though, is we want to set it up so that if you get 4 answers, you'll reach the threshold, which I showed you last time, and you'll lose the game. So we're going to go ahead and create that, and I'm going to do that down in the score panel down here. And I'm just going to create another layer here, and I'm going to call this threshold, and just start making something. I'll call this threshold, and I'll give it an instance name of threshold as well. Come into it, and this is going to be our I'll call it body. I tend to always like to do that. And I'm going to grab this stroke here, and I want it relatively equally, so I'll do it this way. Actually, 1 is probably good enough. Okay, I just want 4 boxes there, so I'm going to get rid of this. Oops, I came out of that. Somewhere around there. And I'll come up to another layer. I'll put a bit of a border around this. I'm going to go ahead and create an actions layer right now. Stop. The light bulb is making noise here. Okay, let's see if I can make that a little bit bigger, or I can even stretch it out. Great, okay. And now what I'll do is, I can probably do it right here. Give myself a few frames here. And when we start, I don't want anything filled in there. But on the next frame, I'm going to fill in that space with a nice red color, the first box, and then another keyframe, and fill in the second box, another keyframe in the third, etc. Okay, perfect. And then the fourth box, so it'll just go like that. Okay, and this is going to be stop. And we'll get some text in here, or did I put all the text on this layer? Let's just see. Yeah, okay, let's just grab some of this text and bring it over. All right, one line. It might be a little bit small to read. Let's check that out. Actually, that's not bad at all. Okay, so we'll get that going in a moment. Let's zoom up here and have a look at the original graphic. Okay, I need another resistor in there and then some text. And then we'll get this thing really going. So I got the resistors. I'll grab one of these, swing it over here. Should be able to grab that bolt, bring it over, see what that looks like. You know, that's it. That would be it. Something like that. Nothing fancy. Okay, I'll have left myself more room, but that's totally fine. What I could do is, what's this stuff? Okay, perfect. Those are the lines. And this is why I tend to label my layers, so I know what I'm looking at right away. I'm going to take this line, and I'm going to bring it out here. And yeah, and really this space could be used for writing anything. Maybe what I'll do is I'll do a tiny little bit here. You know, you could do anything in there. I'll copy that. I'll change this I'll try the light gray. And then I'll just move this text around, see if I get a little bit of a 3D effect there. Just make it a little bit more readable. Okay, you could do various design elements, but I think that's good enough. So I think I would probably call this logo. Not log on. We're not logging on to anything. Okay, now that should be good enough for that. So what we need to do is we need to start seriously making some questions here and adjusting the score and stuff. So I think we are ready to roll with this thing. So let's get that happening. All right, so we're going to have to set a bunch of things in here. We'll do that in a bit. And so I'm just going to create another column of frames there. I'm going to drag this stop over. And then I think about things that I need to change from question to question. The help button is going to stay. The next buttons are definitely going to be changing. The view meter controller is going to be changing, and I'll show you how in a bit. Card reader front, I believe, is going to stay the same. And the loader has the cards in them, so I think that's going to need to change. Let me double check that. Okay, the card reader stays the same. So page number, next back button's the question. And I've even got the loader staying the same. So let's oh, I know I didn't do a page number. I can do that later. The score I want to keep the same. So questions are going to change. Let's just go with that for the time being. Actually, I'm going to do the next and back buttons. Those are easy. So the next button down here is going to point us to the next frame on the root timeline. So this right now we just got the button worker. So on release I want to say root.goto and stop frame 2 of the main timeline. And I'm also going to put that here on my on release outside. So that should take us to frame 2. And the back button at the very beginning, I'm just going to keep it on frame 1. So if you hit back and you're on the home screen, you're just going to stay there. But this button will take you to the next frame. But in the second frame, the next button would take you to, all right, I'll just rewrite it, to frame 3. Root.goto and stop 3. And I'll just repeat that for down here. And the back button this time will take us back to frame 1. In fact, I think I didn't put that on the first one. I just had the button work, which would be essentially the same thing. Let me go back to, if I go back to frame 1, what I'm saying is right here at this spot, I didn't even have the code, and I think I'll just put it in case I copy that later. Okay, so the next buttons work. Okay, now let's go on and do an actual question here. Okay, now I do have homeostasis here in impact. This is where I'm going to write the questions. This is where I'm going to write the answers. I'm going to want it most likely in Verdana for both of them. And I'm going to try 25, so it's going to be too big. We'll try that for the moment. And so I'm going to position this, and I'm going to go ahead and write. I mean, the way I did it last time is I did this. Did I spell that right? I did it like that. Okay, with the dots, just for sort of a stylistic thing. I think that is going to be too big, so I'm going to try 22. And I am going to make this quiz about hormones, I guess, homeostasis. So just some quick sample questions. Let's try this. Okay. Okay, something like that. So now we'll adjust the position, and that's still too big. Okay, something like that. And now I'm going to get rid of this, and I'm going to drag this over. I'm going to use the same size title, but I possibly will change the size of this. We'll see. We'll just see how it goes. So answer B we already have set up for true, so I'll do that. So testosterone is in the category of amino acid hormones, steroid hormones, prostaglandin hormones, and I can see I will have to do some adjusting here. And protein, let's see, hormones. Okay, so obviously I don't want that in behind. And what I'll do is I'll try a different font size, and I'll see. Well, first of all, one thing I want to do is I can adjust this, and I can make this -2. Oh, what happened there? And that didn't take, did it? And that's not really enough. And so, okay, let's have a look at my original and see if maybe the cards don't go up quite that far. I'm using a smaller font. So the cards just go up a little bit above that line. And they've gone up a little bit higher here. And so really what I can do, if I really wanted to, is I could take the monitor and the questions and the next and back buttons and the help button, and I think that's everything, and I could swing this up a little bit. And then I've got more room in behind. I mean, if I really wanted to, I could drape some cords in behind there. Let's have a look and see what that looks like with the monitor up a little bit higher. I mean, you know, if that's the way to do it, then that would work. I'll also try making the font size a little smaller, maybe even just for the answers. Let's try that. Let's try making them 18. You know, then it fits. Then it makes me not want to put that stuff back down. I don't like actually the distance that I had for that. I prefer it down there. And let me lock everything up again. I'm okay with that. I still think that looks pretty good. And so, if we were to play this at this point, if I just go to the next frame and I see this stuff here, I could try choosing, okay, A is wrong, C should be wrong, D should be wrong, and B should be correct, is the correct one. And I see that I go up like this. Now, I obviously haven't set the threshold yet, but that's something that we're going to do in just a moment. All right, so let's do this though. On the first frame, all right, I don't want people to be able to click the load button, because right now, right here, they can do that. All right, so I want to put something in the first frame in the actions, and I want to say root.loader.card A. I'll see if that is the correct way. Enabled equals false. Now I'm not sure if that's the exact right names, and obviously it isn't. So we're going to find that. So I'm going to come into the loader. So it's loader, and oh, I got to call it load button. Okay, so now I have to instance these. Okay, so let's call this load button A. Load button B. Load button C. And load button D. Let's try it that way. Okay, so come back up here and loader, load button A, enable false. Let's see if that worked. There, I can't click it. Now, if I happen to go to the next one, okay, so we're going to have to enable that. All right, but we're going to go ahead and we're going to do this for all of the buttons. So when you originally come into the game, those buttons are not enabled and they can't do anything with them. Double check that. Oh, I missed something here. What did I do? Load button C, load button D. All right, something funny going on here. I'll check it in the actions again and I'll see if I spelt it wrong somewhere. Load BTN-C. Enabled equals false. BTN-C, capital C. Okay. I'll come back into the loader here. Maybe I missed this one somehow. Ah, spelt it wrong. So that would cause that. So now C, okay, none of these are going to work. Okay, so far so good. Now the other thing that we're going to need to do is reset all the cards at the beginning and all the view meters, etc. So actually, let me go see what I called all these things. Let's bring the card back, and I called it card A. All right, and I want to set it so that if you played a question and it was down here, I want to set it back to frame 1 for all of them. So at the very beginning, I'm going to say root.loader.card-A.go-to and stop 1, first frame of its animation. And I'm going to do the same thing for all 4 cards. So if we play this, and let's say we were on the 2nd frame. Yeah, I haven't re-enabled that. Okay, well, we're going to do that in just a second. So we're starting to get some of the code that we're going to need here. And as you can see in my original, I've got the score stuff. We'll do the fade eventually. I'll set up the threshold, but you can see I've got this, right? Load button A enabled false, false, false. And I've got the cards go to and stop. We're of course going to have to set the analyzer reader, the meters as well. But let's just have a look at frame 2. And you'll notice that I enabled those buttons in frame 2. So what I'm going to do just for the moment is I'm just going to copy that over and we can talk about it. It would be easy enough to write. All right, but instead of writing it, root.loader.loadButtonA enabled true instead of false. So on frame 2, when they come to frame 2, those buttons are now enabled. So give that a try. So here we are. Can't click the buttons. Got to go ahead in the game, press the next button, and now the buttons are available. We hit that. 2 wrong. That one's right. Score's working. 3 wrong. So everything's going good. Now, if I go back, note that the cards are down. If I go back, the cards pop up. And of course, this is stopped because this is back at the home screen, but we got to get rid of this stuff as well. So what I would need to do is I would need to come into the analyzer, and I called this just the analyzer, so it's going to be root.analyzer. No, it isn't. I take it back. They are the card reader front. But what did I call it? I called it analyzer card reader A. And this one should be analyzer card reader B. Okay, good. And C and D. So what I'll do is I will come into here and I'll say root.analyzer card reader A.go-to and stop 1 to bring it back to the beginning of its animation before it's moved. And I'll copy that out and I'll do it for all of them and we'll check it and see if I've got it right or if I'm missing, got the wrong instance name or spelled something wrong. Because at this point it's pretty easy All right, I'll just go ahead to the next frame here. Let's see if I got this right. Nope. Analyzer, card reader, go to and stop 1. All right, so let's explore. Analyzer, card reader. Oh, you know what? I've nestled it into the view meter. View meter. Okay, so what it would appear to be is that I would need card view meter. The animation is actually inside that and inside the view meter. Let's just try A. Let's go to the next one and try A. If we go back, it resets it. All right, so that's what we need. We just needed view meter in there. View meter dot. And we'll need that on all of the frames. So if we come here and we start playing, we start messing around with the cards, and then we want to go back a question, it will reset it, and so far we're good to go. Come forward, and we can go. Okay, cool. So far so good. Now, let's have a look at that threshold situation here. We're also going to have to start the threshold scorekeeper at frame 1 at the very beginning of the game. So I'm just going to grab that and we'll put that in. So we're cheating just a little bit. Let's put that in at the top. That's not going to do much for us right there. So it just means start at nothing. All right. Now, in order to increment that threshold with every wrong answer, and I'll show you, you'll understand what I mean as I do this. I'm going to come down to where I've got the first AccuView controller is really here on the first on the first question. And this is what we've got here. All right. In fact, if I come over to here and I look for my view meter controller, I really don't need one on that first frame because I'm not doing anything. Let me just look at that, and I just copied that over, right? This is going to be the same thing. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to drag it to there. So there is no controller there anyhow for right or wrong answers. But when we come to our first question, which is right here, all right, our first question, and I don't have a page number yet. I could just write question 1. When we come and we have a look at that down here, we have the information for wrong answer, right answer, wrong answer. So we are going to do the threshold. Let me just see where I code the threshold. I don't believe it's in there. No, it's not in there. Where would I have done that? Oh, I know where I did that. I know where it is. Okay, it's in the meter. All right. So if I come and look at this one here, and I go into the AccuView meter, I see my right and my wrong answers, right? If I go here, it turns green. If I go here, it turns red. And I want it at the very end of turning red. If this was wrong, let's look at the actions. I said this: if root.answerWrong is equal to 1. If there's been one wrong answer, then the score, I called it Scorekeeper, that bottom module there, but I believe I've called it score in my video. The threshold, go to and stop, frame 2, and then frame 3, and then frame 4, and then frame 5. So let's have a look at that. If root wrong answer, so equals 1. So we go ahead and we'll try to do that from scratch. I'll go ahead and I'll do that inside my, not my controller, but inside my card reader here. And I'll just go into this one here and into the view meter. And there's nothing. Okay, great. So we'll say on clip event enter frame. I gotta change my keyboard. It always switches on me. Oops, what happened here? It's going crazy. We'll say if root dot wrong answer is equal to 1. I have to put two brackets because two equal signs because I'm in brackets. If that is the case, then root.score.threshold.go to and stop. Now I believe I have to go to frame 1 in this case, the first red box. Let me double check a couple of things. Did I call this module score? Yeah, I called it score. And when I come in here, if I look at the threshold thing, which I should have given an instance name, I did. I want it to go to frame 1. Well, it's stopped on frame 1 is nothing. It's really frame 2 I have to go to. That's what I was wondering about. That's perfect. Okay, so let's do that. And then we'll just increment it from there. Go to and stop frame 2. What have I got? Oh, I'm on a frame. I don't need that. I don't need that. I'll get rid of that for the moment. Okay, so let me double check that it works for one wrong answer. And it didn't work there, so let me see what I've got going on here. Root.score.threshold.go to and stop to. I hope I don't have a problem with that name, threshold. Okay. Was it answer wrong? I think so. That might be it. I hope so. Haha, good. Now, of course, if I get another wrong answer, it doesn't do it yet. So we're going to add, and I'm just going to keep going. All right, might be sloppy code to some people, but if there's 2 wrong answers, go to frame 2, or 3, sorry. If there are 3 wrong answers, okay, in other words, it's drawing from the score, which I called answer wrong. So if the score is 3 there, go to frame 4. And I think I lost one of my closing brackets. Okay, got something funny going on there. Okay. Go to 5. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's right. I don't need that. I keep thinking I'm in a movie clip. Okay, so let's try this. Wrong answer, another wrong answer, a right answer. Okay, so I'm going to go on and do another question, and then we'll see what happens when we get to the 4th one. We'll have to change something. In fact, I'm going to add that right now. Say root dot go to and stop. I'm going to call this end game, or I'll just call it, I'm going to call it lose. Okay, we haven't created that yet, but that will eventually do that. So it will show 4 filled in red spots on the threshold. That will stay at the bottom of the screen, but we'll also go to another frame. So let's just go ahead and do another question. Now I've got all this code on here, and then there's more that I'm going to be needing as well. I'm going to drag that out. I'll do another next button. The view meter controller, we need to change that because that's where we do our right and wrong answers. That can stay, that can stay. The questions, of course, are going to change. So let's just work on the question for the time being. Do another hormone question. Okay, and really, you know, if you wanted to save a bit of time, you could just do it in there instead of doing a different page number. And in here, you know, just to save some time, you don't have to have a separate page number. So question 1, this is question 2. All right, so let's say, just, you know, reabsorption of blank by the kidney. All right, and we'll make answer A the correct one. Sodium, glucose, water, magnesium, you know, just anything like that. Okay, so we are going to set this up. So we're going to come to the view meter controller. You know, it's going to control the view meter, whether it goes this way or that. So the correct answer was A in this case. So let me hit it because it is transparent. So there we come over to here. All right, and this becomes very easy to do. Answer A was the right one. Hit right. All these were wrong. Change this to say right. Answer right, we're going to increment by 1. And this one is wrong, so answer wrong, we're going to increment by 1. Done, at least for that part. All right. That might be it, actually. Let me see if I may have to reset the cards on that page, because if I do this, I go to the next page, it didn't reset the card and it didn't reset the meter. So let's do that. Just the loader. Let's come to this page. There. Okay, there's the loader. We need to reset the card and the view meters every time. So I'm going to grab all that code and I'm going to put it over here. Paste it in. And then every time from now on when we copy, we'll have that as we build it up. And double checking. The score should be only in the first one. Right? Where's score equals 0? Oh, maybe I didn't even reset that. Or did I do that somewhere else? Oh, there is no score. I'm sorry. I set this answer 0. Oh, I want to make sure those aren't showing up everywhere. Yeah, we got to get rid of these because we'll be resetting these to 0 every time. So goodbye. And over here, goodbye. We'll test it all out, make sure it's doing what it's supposed to do. Score 0. Okay, here we go into the game. Testosterone, blah, blah, blah. I think it's A. 1 wrong. I think it's D. 2 wrong. Maybe it's supposed to be B. Okay, 1 right. Now let's watch these scores as we go to the next page. Good, they're maintained. Everything is reset. We can now do this. Let's see if we get it. Yes. Now if we do this, brings the threshold up. Okay, so they're all going to bring the threshold up. Now, obviously, I can't, if I do this and it's wrong, it's not going to go further because after 4 of them, we're going to go somewhere else. All right, so let's just go one more question just to make sure we know what we're doing here. All right, it's getting simpler and simpler now at this point. We need new next back buttons, and I, by the way, have to adjust those. New controller and new questions. Let me go back to the next buttons and make sure on this frame, frame 3, that the back button is going to bring us back to 2. And the next button is going to bring us to 4. Okay, so those should work fine. Let's do a question. And this is going to be question 3 now. And I think this will be the last question I will do. Insulin controls blood blank and is released from the blank. So we'll have a 2-answer question is what I'm trying to say. This will be D. Controls blood sugar and is released from pancreas. No E. I will do blood sodium and is released from the thyroid. Blood pH and is released from the liver. Blood, I don't know, chloride and is released from the thymus. Okay, cool. We got all our answers set up. You can still read that through there. Okay, the correct answer is D. So come back to the controller on the 4th frame. The answer is D. So I'm going to change this to say right. I'm going to change this to say right. And this is going to be wrong. And this is going to be wrong. And that's all it takes to change those once you've created the quiz. So question 1, question 3. And that's because our next buttons are not set up properly. So we'll double check that here. I want this from this is to take us to frame 3. I bet you that says frame 4. I want to go to frame 3. Oh, jeez. Well, that's a little bit weird. What happened? I don't even know what happened there. Let's see if I can drag those around. And then we'll see if the answers work at this point. Okay, so what happened there? Question 1, question 2, question 3. Let's see if the answers are set up right. Okay, question 1. Okay, this should be B. Check. Next. This should be A. Okay, good. So far, so good. Okay, this should be D. Okay, it's working well. Wrong, wrong, wrong. Okay, I want to go back. Everything is set up. Now, I went back from there, and I went all the way back, didn't I? I'm on frame 4. I want to go back to frame 3. And here, I'm on frame 3. I want to go back to frame 2. I should have it by this point. Frame 2, I want to go back to frame 1. Okay, so far so good. Okay, so what we'll do now is I'm going to come out just a certain distance along here, put some more frames. For the moment, I'm going to drag this over. I still want the next back buttons. I want another iteration of those. The view meter controllers, I really don't need that at this point. And so I'm just going to hit F7 to get rid of it there. And questions, I am going to need something because I'm going to write something there. I'll go ahead and I'll do that first. Okay, actually, before I do that, I'm going to come up and I'm going to put another layer. And I'm going to call this labels in capital. And I'm going to put F6 right there. And I will give myself a little bit. No, I don't need that much. A few frames anyhow. And I'm going to write in here the frame label lose, which is what I called it before. All right, so when they lose, they're going to go here. And I'm going to set up something. I'll call it under questions. It's not really a question, but I'm just going to say this. Okay, I may not be using the exact same fonts. I'm trying to get through this a little quicker at this point. So I'm just going to do something like that. And okay, so something like this. And you can make it sound a lot fancier or put graphics in there or however you want your lose screen to appear. Let's say for our purposes this was good enough. Okay, so let's set this up. Actually, we already have it set up on the, believe it was on the card reader down in here, then on the view meter, in the last frame, adding up the number of wrongs, it says if root answer wrong is equal to 4, then the threshold will go up and show 4 red spaces and go to and stop the lose screen. What we'll do though as well is at that lose screen, for the next and back buttons, I want to change something here. I want this to go back to frame 1, so if they want to play again. And I don't want them just to be able to go back to the previous screen. I'm going to set this up to go to frame 1 as well. So either button starts the game over. They have no choice but to start the game over. So nothing is clickable here, nothing at all, okay, except help, which does nothing right now. Next button, we're into the first question. Try A. Oh, that was wrong. C. Oh, I'm not doing very well. Oh, I've got 3 wrong, none right. Okay, so that's right. So now, if I go back, there is that, by the way. You go, oh, I'm going to do that, but see, the threshold didn't reset itself. The score did. Let me think about that for a moment. Let's just go on and get one more wrong answer. This will fill up to 4, and we'll see what happens. Okay, interesting. So we have a little glitch here, and it may have been because we restarted the game. Let me try that again. Okay, next button. Wrong, 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 3. Wrong there. Okay, we hit 4. It says 4. We got threshold. We reached our threshold, and we got to game over. Any of these buttons, you know, will take us back to the very beginning. I need to reset the threshold. And that's what I've got to do. And I thought I did that actually. Well, this is why. I've got the wrong name. This says Scorekeeper. I want this to say score. All right, so if I was to do this and get one wrong, if I go back, it'll reset it. This may be an issue, maybe something to think about, because, watch this. Oh, I got 3. I only got 1 more to go, or I lose the whole game. This is not going very well for me. B looks like the right one. Okay, let me go back. Let me start again. Okay. Oh, it's going really well. All right, let's try something here. D. No, I really don't know my hormones. Let me go back to here, and although I've got it, it didn't reset unless I go right back to the very beginning of the game. It's certainly not going to reset every frame because I want to carry that along. So, you know, if I go right back to the very beginning of the game, it'll zero it out and I could start it again. You know, you can block them from doing that if you really want to, but otherwise, you know, is that really what you want to be doing? Okay, so my next button here is taking me to 2, so let me double check that. Okay, what's going on here? At frame 3, I want to go to frame 4. Okay, and at frame 4, I'd want to go to frame 5, right, normally. And so what I'll do is I will just finish this off by doing another one in here. I'll drag that out, and I'll put another next button. I don't need actually the view controls. I'm going to end the game here. I'm going to say you win. So I'm going to drag the blank keyframe there because I'm not going to do that. Questions, I will do something here. And let me just make sure that these are going to work. So I'm on frame 4, and I want this to take me to frame, oops, not F5. I want this to take me to frame 5. And the back button to take me to frame 4. Although this is going to be the win screen here. If you happen to want to go back, I suppose you could. I don't know why not. You could decide about that. And the question right here. In fact, I'm just going to drag this over. I'm going to copy that frame over to there, and just make a change here and say you win. And here I'm going to say, you know, something like that. And at that point, the next button, if they press next, will take them back to frame 1 to replay. And you know what? The more I think about it, the more I want this back button also to take them back to frame 1 and not just back a question, because you're at the end of the game and that's it. Okay, and they can, you know, I could say check out your score below. And the idea is to try to get as many right ones, you know, and no wrong ones, very low wrong ones and low threshold. So let's just go through this and see if we've got everything going. All right, so here's our game. In fact, what I'll do, I've only got 1, 2, 3 questions, and I've got a win and a lose screen. And I mean, I could have put in a frame label here and done it that way, but I didn't. So I'm just going to export this movie, put on the desktop. I'll just call it tutorial. And I don't want to compress it at all. And let's see where she is. Tutorial. Where is tutorial whiteboard? There it is. Okay, let's first of all have a look at this, the file size. 328K. Well, first of all, by the way, before we get too excited here, let me do this. Let me get rid of that. Let's get rid of our reference image, and let's come over to the library and select unused items and get rid of that. Anything there? And let's see what we get this time. Okay, I'll call it tutorial. And I hope it's not too big, but in the end, it doesn't matter that much. There it is. 40K. Okay, 40K by getting rid of that extra stuff. Let's just look at this nice and big. How about that? All right, we've done it. You can change all this information. You can add other things. You can make the help buttons work. We read this. None of the buttons work. All right. Press the next button. We're into the game. I didn't do a fade. I could easily do that. We'll see. Let's try an answer. Wrong. Threshold's gone up. Be careful. 1 wrong. Let's get some right ones. Okay, correct. Score's gone up. Watch these scores maintained. Threshold is maintained unless you start again. And maybe if you're willing to do that. Aldosterone causes sodium reabsorption. We'll add another wrong one there. Okay, 2 to 2. Let's get another wrong one. So let's choose C. That's wrong. The threshold is going up. Let's do one more wrong one. Bang. Game over. Try again. I want to go back. Nope, you're starting again. So I think that's good enough for the tutorial. It's been a real long one, and I really appreciate you guys if you've watched through this, and if this is helpful or even just inspired you to make something of your own. That's awesome. Good luck with that. And we'll see you again soon.